Myself Shubhashish Shah, Assistant Professor of Mathematics of Greater Kolkata College of Engineering and Management, GIS Group. In this video, I will discuss about graph theory, basics of graph theory. This is a continuation video. In my previous video, I started a discussion about basics of graph theory and some. I introduced you to some topics, definition, terms, new terms of graph theory, and this is the continuation video. Last, I introduced you with subgraph and spanning subgraph, and the next point I will tell you the complement of a graph. Complement of a graph. So what is a complement of a graph? Suppose you have a graph, like I am taking an example. Suppose V1, V2, V3, V4, V5. Okay, and suppose you have this graph. Now, what is the complement of this graph? First, let I tell you. You know what is complete graph? You know the definition of complete graph. Complete graph is a graph in which every pair of vertices are adjacent to each other. Now, this graph is not complete because every pair of vertices are not adjacent to each other, like V1, V4 is not adjacent, V3, V1 is not adjacent, V2, V5 is not adjacent. In this way, many pair of vertices are not adjacent. So, those edges which are not present in this graph, which stops this graph to be complete, you have to draw those edges. You have to draw those edges, and vertex set will be same. So V1, you have to draw same vertices V1, V2, V3, V4, V5, and you have to identify which vertices, pair of vertices are not adjacent in your given graph, and you have to connect those pair of vertices by an edge, and you will not draw the edges which are present in G. Okay, so V2, V3 is not adjacent. V2, V3 is not adjacent. Okay. V5, V2 is not adjacent. So V5, V2 is not adjacent. Okay. V4, V1 is not adjacent. V1, V3 is not adjacent. So, this is the complement graph G dash of G. Now, you can think that how we can be confirmed that all the edges which were not present in G to be complete, they have been drawn by us in G dash in the complement of this graph. So for that confirmation, you have to know one property about the complete graph, which is the number of edges in a complete graph. If you know the number of edges in that complete graph, and you see what is the number of edges in your present graph, then after subtraction the present number from the number of edges in the complete graph, you will know the remaining number of edges, and that will be identical to the number of edges in G dashed. Now, I have not discussed about the properties, that property, the number of edges in a complete graph. I will discuss about it later. But for this definition, I will tell you that in a complete graph, the number of edges is n into n minus 1 by 2. In a complete graph K, that is complete graph with n vertices, number of edges is n into n minus 1 by 2. Now here there are 5 vertices. So the number of edges in K5, number of edges in K5 will be 5 into 4 by 2, that is equal to 10. So 10 edges in K5. So here there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 edges. So there are 4 edges which are not present in this graph, and those 4 edges stops this graph G to be complete. So these 4 edges will be present in the complement of this graph, and these are the 4 edges. So to draw a complement graph, after drawing a complement graph, by counting the number of edges, you can be confirmed that that all the edges in the complement of the graph has been drawn. But adjacency, you have to check it yourself carefully. That is, V1 will be adjacent to V4. V1 is not adjacent to V4 in G, like that. Okay, so I think it is clear what is complement of a graph. So the next point I will tell you, deletion of a vertex. If we delete a vertex from a graph, what is the result? Suppose the graph is like this: V1, V2, V3, V4, V5. There are 5 vertices and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 edges. The name of this graph is G. Now, what happens if we delete a vertex? Suppose we want to delete V2. Suppose if we want to delete V2 from this graph G. Now, if we delete a vertex from a graph, it means with that vertex, all the edges adjacent to that vertex will be deleted with the deletion of the vertex. Okay, that is, if we delete V2, so the remaining vertices will be V1, V5, V4 and V3. V1, V5 is adjacent, V5, V4, but these edges that is adjacent with V2, which are adjacent with V2, this edge and this edge. So with the deletion of V2, these 3 edges will be deleted. So this is the resulting graph after deletion of V2. Okay, so I think it is clear what is deletion of a vertex. Now, if you ask me that what is the result if we delete an edge? Okay, so if you delete an edge, it does not mean that the adjacent vertices with that edge will be deleted, like the deletion of vertices. No, if you delete an edge, only that edge will be deleted, no other element of that graph will be deleted. That is, as an example, if you delete this edge, so the graph will be like this, just the edge will be removed from the graph. No vertices adjacent with, that is V1, V5 will be deleted. So deletion of vertex means the vertex will be deleted as well as the edges adjacent with that vertex will be deleted. But the deletion of edge does not mean that the adjacent vertices with that edge will be deleted. Okay? Okay. So the next topic I will tell you is very important. Walk, path. First walk, then trail, then path, then cycle. These 4 topics I will discuss now. So before starting the discussion, let me draw a graph. V1, V2, V3, V4, V5, V6, V7, V8, V9, V10. And we name the edges as E1, E2, E3, E4, E5, E6, E7, E8, E9, E10, E11, E12. So there are 10 vertices and 11 edges, and the name of this graph is G. Now what is walk? Walk is a finite sequence of vertices and edges alternatively. Simply, walk is a finite sequence of vertices and edges. Okay, there is no restriction to form a walk, that is repetition of vertex or repetition of edges like this. Okay, so simply a finite sequence of vertices and edges. That is, suppose you want to go from V3 to V9, V3 to V9. So you can take any way, any path from. I'm not using the word path because path has another definition. You can take any way. I'm using this word way to go from V3 to V9. So I'm writing a walk. So you start from V3, then through E2 you go to V2. Okay, V2, then E3, then V5. Okay, then E4, then V4, E5, V6, E5, V6. Then you go through you can go through E6, or you can go through E8, or you can go through E9 to V9. We want to go to V9, from V3 to V9. Now we reach to V6. So you can take this edge E9 and you can reach to V9 directly, or you can also take this edge, that is E6, you go to V5. Okay, then you take E7, you go to V7, then you take E8, you reached V6 again. Okay, then you take E9 and you go to V9. So finally you started from V3 and reached to V9. So see here, V6. Okay, this vertex has been repeated. This vertex has been repeated. So there is no restriction in the definition in to form a walk. So any vertex or any edge can be repeated finite time in that walk. Okay, so just you have to reach the destination vertex in any way. So a vertex or an edge can be repeated finite times. So walk is a finite sequence of vertex, edge, vertex, edge, vertex, edge alternatively. Okay, so this is the definition of walk. Now I'll tell you what is a trail. So in a trail, okay, I write walk repetition of vertex and edge is allowed. Vertex and edge is allowed. Next, I'll tell you what is trail. Okay, trail is also a finite sequence of vertices and edges, but there is a restriction. There should not be any repetition of edges. That is, all the edges in a trail must be distinct. So repetition of edge is not allowed. Not allowed. So no repetition of edge is in a trail. Okay, so in walk, vertex, edge both can be repeated. In a trail, no edge can be repeated. Next, I go to path. Now what is path? Path is also a finite sequence of vertices and edges, but the restriction is no vertex should be repeated. No repetition of vertex is not allowed. Repetition of vertex is not allowed. So I repeat, in walk, vertex, edge both can be repeated. In trail, edge can't be repeated. In path, vertex can't be repeated. Okay, so you can take, if you take an example of path, you want to go from V3 to V8, then this is a path V3 to V2, E3, V5, E7, V7, E10, V8. Now see, there is no repetition of vertex and edges, so this is an example of path. Okay, now if a path is a closed path means that is the open vertex and the end vertex will same. That is, we end the path at V3. So I told you that the definition of path is repetition of vertex is not allowed. So closed path means repetition of vertex is not allowed, excluding one vertex, that is the start vertex and end vertex will be same. Like we started from V3 and we finished at V3. Then okay, I take another example of closed path, like closed path whose another name is cycle. That is, it is a path in which only one vertex is repeated, that is the start vertex as well as the end vertex. That is, if we want to start from V4, we want to end at V4. So the cycle will be like V4, E4, V4, E4, V5, then we take E6, then V6, then E5, V4. Now this is a cycle. So no vertex is repeated excluding the starting vertex and end vertex. So this is called cycle. So I told you the definitions of walk, path and cycle. Next, I will tell you what is distance between two vertices. Distance between two vertices. Distance between two vertices. So what is the distance between two vertices? The distance between two vertices Vi and Vj is denoted by dVi, Vj. This denotes distance between Vi and Vj, and defined by the length of the shortest path between Vi and Vj. So in between two vertices there may be more than one path, several paths in a graph. From the previous example we can see that in between two vertices, like I am giving you a short example. Suppose V1, V2, V3, V4, V5. Okay, so here you can see that if you want to go from V1 to V5, you have many paths. You can go like this: V1, V4, V5, V1, V2, V3, V5, and you can directly go from V1 to V5 because there is an edge. Now here you have three paths, more than three paths: V1, V4, V3, V5, many more paths. So if we take this path V1, V4, V5, the length of this path, okay, what is the length of a path? Length of a path means number of edges present at that path. So V1, V4, V5, in this path there are two edges, so length of this path will be 2. If you take this path V1, V2, V3, V5, there are 1, 2, 3 edges, so length of this path will be 3. If you take this path, there is only one edge, so length of this path will be 1. So like this, if you calculate all the length of the path, so distance will be the shortest length, shortest path. The length of the shortest path will be called the distance. So here distance between V1 and V5 is 1 because this is the shortest path from V1 to V5. Okay, clear? Next, what is diameter of a graph? What is diameter of a graph? So diameter of a graph is the maximum distance between any 2 points. Maximum distance between any 2 points in a graph G is called the diameter of G and is denoted by DIMG, diameter of G. Okay, so if you take this example, first you calculate all the distances between every two pair of vertices. That is distance of V1, V4, V1, V2, V1, V3, calculate all the distances between every two pair of vertices, and the diameter will be the maximum distance of that graph. So if you calculate the distances, the distance will be, suppose the distances are 1, 4, 3, 7. Okay, there are 4 distances between in a graph. then 7 will be the diameter of the graph. So maximum distance between any two paths is called the distance of a graph. Okay. Now next topic I will tell you that connected graph. Connected graph. So what is connected graph? A graph is said to be connected if there is at least one path between every pair of vertices. Every pair of vertices. Many students confused this connected graph with complete graph because definition of graph is almost like connected graph. The definition of complete graph was if every pair of vertices is connected with an edge, and in connected graph definition is if every pair of vertices is connected with a path. So no, edge is not identical with path, you know, so don't be confused. So connected graph means if every pair of vertices there is exactly one path between, not exactly, sorry, there is at least one path between every pair of vertices. So in the previous examples I have already told you that there may be more than one path between two vertices, v1, v2, v3, v4, v5, v6, v7. Now see that if you want to go from any vertex to any vertex in this graph, you can find a path. You can't find any two vertices. You can't tell me the name of two vertices from which you cannot go to the another vertex. That is, there is no path. Okay, so if you want to go from any vertex to another vertex, you can find a path. From v1 to v5, you can go. From v1 to v4, you will find a path. So this graph is connected. So but just by seeing you can detect a graph is connected or disconnected, because I will tell now you what is disconnected graph. Disconnected graph means there will be at least one pair of vertices in which there is no path. So in this graph, all the vertices are connected by at least one path. If we draw another vertex like this, okay, there are 7 vertices, v7, or I am v9. Okay, so this is a graph. This whole is a graph G, and now you see that from v1 to v9 there is no path, from v4 to v8 there is no path. So this is clearly a disconnected graph because every pair of vertices are not joined by a path. Okay, so by seeing you can, now I think it is clear that you can just see or you can tell that the graph is connected or disconnected. So this is a disconnected graph, and disconnected graph, and disconnected graph. In disconnected graph, you can see that this is a connected graph, this is another connected graph. So disconnected graph actually is a collection of some connected graph. Collection of some connected graph. You can draw another connected graph, and this will also be a disconnected graph. So disconnected graph is a collection of connected graph, and disconnected graphs are called components. These are called components. Here there are two components at this disconnected graph. Okay, clear what is connected graph and disconnected graph? Now I am going to the next point, which is fundamental numbers of a graph. Fundamental numbers of a graph. Fundamental numbers of a graph. Now what is this fundamental numbers of a graph? Let G be a graph. Let you have the graph G, and the number of vertices denoted by n, Okay, then number of edges. Number of edges denoted by E, and the number of component. Just I told you in a disconnected graph, the components are the connected graphs. Connected graphs present in a disconnected graph are called the components of the disconnected graph, denoted by K. So these numbers are called fundamental numbers of a graph. Okay, so number of vertices N, number of edges E, and number of K, number of components K, are called the fundamental numbers of a G. These numbers are independent to each other. There is no relation between N, E, and K. There are some properties of these numbers, that is, N will always be greater than equal to K. N will never less than K. Okay, number of vertices will never less than K. Number 2, E will be greater than equal to N minus K. Okay. Number 3, the fundamental numbers alone are not enough to specify a graph. I am writing this: the fundamental numbers, that is N, E, and K. N, E, and K are not alone enough to specify a graph. That is, just by these numbers you cannot tell that, you cannot explain the properties of a graph, what type of graph it is, or which property is satisfied for this graph. That is, you cannot explain a graph just by the fundamental numbers of a graph. And last, this is very important, N minus K. N minus K, this result is called the rank of a graph. In a graph, you will get the number of vertices, you will get the number of components if it is a disconnected graph. Then N minus K will be called the rank of the graph. Okay, and E minus N plus K, E minus N plus K, where E is the number of edges, N is the number of vertices, and K is the number of component in a disconnected graph, is called nullity of the graph G. So N will always be greater than equal to K, E will be greater than equal to N minus K, and this N minus K is called the rank of a graph, and E minus N plus K is called the nullity of a graph. So the next point I will discuss now is digraph or directed graph. Digraph or directed graph. So what is the difference between a graph and digraph? Just simple. Directed graph means the edges in that graph will have some certain direction. Like, I am taking an example. Suppose this is the graph V1, V2, V3, V4, V5, V6, and V7. Suppose this is the name of this graph is G, and directions, I am giving the directions in an arbitrary way like this. There is no restriction for giving the directions. So this is a digraph. If all the edges have the direction have some certain direction, then that graph is called digraph. All the edges must have direction to be a digraph. Some edges have direction, some edges do not have direction. It can't happen. Okay, so this is a digraph. So in a digraph, when we calculate the degrees of a vertex, you know what is degree? Degree is the number of edges adjacent with that vertex. So degree of a vertex is divided in two parts. One is in degree and another is out degree. So what is in degree? In degree and out degree. So in degree means number of edges going into that vertex is called the in degree of that vertex. Going into that vertex. Since you have the direction, you can find the number of edges going into that vertex, and out degree is number of edges going out from that vertex. So in degree going number of edges going into that vertex, and out degree is going out from that vertex. Now if we calculate in degree of V1, now if you see this graph, you can see that no edge is going to V1, going into V1. Both edges are going out from V1, so in degree of V1 will be 0 and out degree of V1 will be 2, since two edges are going out from V1. So in this way you can find all the in degrees and out degrees of the vertices. Now if we add the in degree and out degree of some vertex, you will get the degree of that vertex corresponding to the undirected graph. If you remove all the directions from the graph, then it will be a undirected graph, and then the degree of V1 will be 2. So in degree plus out degree, 0 plus 2 is equal to 2. So in degree plus out degree is equal to the degree of that vertex corresponding to that undirected graph. Okay. So I'm showing you another example. Suppose if we take V5, if you take V5, in degree of V5, okay, there is no in degree here also. Okay, if we take V2, in degree of V2 is, okay, two edges are going into V2, so 2, and out degree of V2 will be 1 edge is going out from V2, so 1, and 2 plus 1 is 3. So now see, if we remove the direction, degree of V2 is 3. So in degree plus out degree is equal to the degree of the vertex corresponding to that undirected graph. Okay, so this was the basic terms and definitions I discussed in this video and my previous video. So if you watch these two videos, you will have some basic ideas about graph theory. Next, in my next video, I will discuss about some very basic and important properties, theorems about graph theory, without which you cannot go to the higher level of graph theory. Those are very useful theorems, and in my next video I will discuss about them. Till then, you watch this video and study these definitions and terms I discussed. So if you have any query, then you can contact with me. My contact details is given at the first slide of this video. Thank you.